Set my STEEZ note going on. Yes, Lord, bringing you Super Saturday review. First game that we got to watch was the St. Kilda Saints and the Brisbane Lions at Marvel Stadium. And coming into this game, I've been noticing the Saints been falling off just a bit. I've been finding myself rooting for them early in the season. I kind of like what I've been seeing from them as of last week and the last couple of weeks. Not so much, so really just been on the St. Kilda fall off watch. I don't know if their season we probably say this every week, but at some point during the season, St. Kilda just falls off and doesn't quite return to what they were showing off in the beginning of the season. And I've really just been watching to see if we at that point yet, considering that they got smoked by the Dogs last week. And Brisbane, on the other hand, haven't really been fully convinced by Brisbane, especially after last week getting smoked by the Pies badly, at home at that. So even if you can't win at home and you get smoked like that, you can obviously get smoked on the road, man. But obviously Collingwood and the Saints are two different levels of competition. So jury's been out on Brisbane. I haven't been completely sold on them. So I thought coming into this game that it was a toss-up. The Saints, if they brought enough pressure, could potentially win this game if they play their best footy. So that's where I was coming into the game. As far as the start of the game, Brisbane was really living in their forward half for a while, or most of the first quarter, to be honest. And early on, I was like, okay, the Saints' pressure is looking good. They land tackles and land tough tackles in their defensive half, and they're not letting Brisbane score how they like to. But then you get to a point where it's like, damn, bro, they're on the defensive half still. They still haven't got to their 450. And so you knew at some point the defense was gonna break. It was bending and bending and bending, and they were doing a good job of like land tackles and stuff like that. But really just the whole fourth quarter was pretty much just Brisbane putting them under the pump and not quite getting bang for their buck, but eventually they started scoring, man. And really, I feel like over the course of the game, Brisbane really was just whooping the Saints' ass from clearance, bro. And that was really the theme last game with the Saints getting smoked by the Dogs. The Dogs were up on them boys in the clearance game. And so it seems like the Saints have the same problem that they had last week, and nothing really changed this week. So that's really where Brisbane was able to whoop their ass. Second quarter did look better for the Saints as far as ball movement, but still, Brisbane was still just getting on top of them, man. I think in the absence of Joe Danaher and his retirement, I think, what's his name? Eric Hipwood, he stepped up very well. He's looking like a good key forward to have as the main guy. Earlier in the season, he wasn't doing as much, but in the last couple of weeks, he's been showing that he's capable of doing so. This game as well, Lachie Neale finished with 3 goals. So if you get 3 goals from Lachie Neale, that's a good game for Brisbane. He's not really the goal-scoring midfielder that you would, not that you would expect, but that we have in the competition. There are some great midfield scorers, but he's not one of them. But it's just a bonus if you can get 3 goals from him. And the Saints just seem like they just rely way too much on Wanganeen Malera. Like their whole offense goes through them. You can see this concerted effort to bring the ball through him. And granted, I understand why, because he is a great player as far as ball usage and setting plays up and setting up his teammates as well, and even scoring on his own sometimes. But it seems like they don't have enough there. That being said, Jack Higgins did do a lot in the little limited opportunities that he had. And there's 3 things that are for sure: death, Texas, and the Jack Higgins snap in the general play. If your Jack Higgins is kicking a snap in general play, it's not necessarily a set shot, but he's going to make that, bro. He seems to always make that. And I think at one point he tied the lead for the Coleman medalist. So he's been having a great season, man, considering the circumstances that they're going through. Yeah, Brisbane was just a bit too much, man. And I think in the third quarter, they left the door open just for a period of time for the Saints to come back, but because Brisbane didn't want to finish the breakfast, if you will. They were like 0-4 as far as scores, and the Saints had 3 goals, but really by the end of the third quarter, Brisbane got back to scoring, and the scoreboard pressure just ended up way too much by the time the fourth quarter came, and the Saints were getting smoked and didn't really have a chance to come back, although they did have some goals and played better in jump time, but not that it matters. But yeah, the clearance game was definitely where it was, but really across the whole board, every metric, Brisbane was really just beating the Saints. I did like the bump that Liam Stalker had on Kyle Lohman. He sent him into the helicopter, and then he got bumped. He started spinning like a helicopter, and he bumped into another teammate, into another Saints player, which was pretty funny, pretty entertaining. So it might just be the inner Carlton in me. Charlie Cameron still struggles, man. I think this is like third or fourth week in a row he hasn't had a goal, which is very strange. We all know Brisbane reaches a different level whenever Charlie Cameron is able to score, and it's just been a quiet stretch for him. And you could tell that he was trying to get it, but still close but no cigar. Still haven't got one yet. Saints, they made Ross Ryan made a very early substitution, got Hugo Garcia out of there in the second quarter, like halfway through the second quarter, and put Zach Jones in. And Zach Jones did make a difference, but obviously at the end of the day, it didn't really make too much of a difference because they were still getting smashed in the mids. Couldn't lay a hand on the Brisbane midfield, man. They were just living in the fourth half all day. And I think that pretty much sums it up, bro. The Saints aren't quite up to it. I'm afraid this may be the point where the Saints are falling off and they might not return to form. Jack Steele just doesn't look like the player that he once was, that I come to like over the last couple of years. He seems to always be injured, have an injury every year, but even he's been on the field for the last couple of weeks and still seems to not really have as great an impact as you would like. It's really just the Wanganeen Miller show and the Jack Higgins show, really. Mason Wood has his moments as well, but yeah, Brisbane as a whole just was too good of a team, too damaging, and just had the Saints playing defense for too long, bro. And if you play footy, if you play defense for too long, you'll get tired faster than the offense is, bro. And by then, you're going to gas out. And then you're going to find yourself down 40. And that's pretty much what it is, man. So it's good to see Brisbane respond, I guess. I'm not a fan of Brisbane, but I know they're happy that they turned their game up. They responded to last week's ass whooping in the fashion that they did. And, they just did a little bit more convincing as far as getting this win. So that's what I got for that game. Next game, we had Port Adelaide Power versus the North Melbourne Kangaroos, man. Coming into this game, I thought this was about to be an ass whoop, bro. Giving Port 1-2 straight. They've been looking all right. Look much better than they have been playing earlier in the season. And North just got smoked by Carlton, who we all know Carlton hasn't really been too convincing yet. They've only beaten two bottom of the barrel teams, if you include North in that category. And they look bad at times. So North losing the way that they did and not being competitive at all in that game was just very. It just didn't put a good taste, I think, in my mouth as far as predicting them, tipping them to win games in the future. And early on, Port was really whooping their ass, man. The first quarter, Port scored 7 goals, man, and North really just wasn't looking up to it. But this game, any run that Port made, North made it a point to respond. And by the end of the game, they weren't getting their ass whooped. North has been improved, man. I know there's a lot of people out there that say North, they're kind of treating North as if they're the same club that they've been the last couple of years, but I don't think so. I definitely noticed an improvement. But that being said, I don't think either team in this game put their best foot forward. There were just definitely bad mistakes on both teams, whether it's giving up a ridiculous 50 or whether it's just doing something completely stupid to ruin the momentum, the rest of the momentum that you have, or just to aid the momentum of the other team. But yeah, I think really just the fact Port was just a bit too strong, man. I think their best players played great games, where I think North's best players they didn't play their best game at all. I think Connor Rozee, he's been a revelation down back. I think he helps them in the back line. I don't think Port is really great at recovering ground balls down back. I think Connor Rozee is a former midfielder, or if you still want to consider him a midfielder, he's good at that. And so he's been great down back. Zach Butters has been having a great season since he came back. And Jason Horn-Francis has been having great games as well. Mitch Georgiadis has been holding it down at forward. It was once him with Charlie Dixon and Todd Marshall, and now both of them two are gone. So it seems like he's just by himself. But I also like what Ali Valor brings to the forward half. or to the forward line of Port as well. So I really do like him going forward. But Sam Powell-Pepper played a great game as well, man. I would say Sam Powell-Pepper, Jason Horn-Francis, Connor Rozee, and Zach Butters were probably the most influential players for Port. But yeah, they still had their moments, bro, where they were just looking unconvincing, allowing North to get back in the game. It seems like Port really just plays all out sometimes, and then other times, in the in-between times, they're kind of just going through the motions and limping to the finish line. It seems like that's just the vibe that I get from Port. But North, as far as North side, bro, North, I really like George Wardlaw. I keep saying this. I think he's a future star in the comp. But I think the senior, okay, so also just to preface too, this was Luke Parker's 300th game, and he really brought it this game. I could tell that he really wanted to win this game. So good on him. But there was a lot of players from North that just weren't up to it, and that I was kind of surprised about, like Caleb Daniel. I'm usually highly tout him for his ball usage, but he had some very questionable disposals this game. Lou Davies-Uniacke had bad decisions. Kobe McCurcher, especially in crunch time when you're down by 8 points in the fourth quarter, you're just getting holding the balls and missing goals that you probably should knock down. Nick Larkey is probably the most accurate set shot in the competition, and he had a terrible game as far as accuracy goes. But Paul Curtis really helped them to stay competitive, and George Wardlaw as well. And yeah, it was surprising because with North, I would like to think that it would be the younger players that really let you down, but it was kind of the senior players this time around. Yeah, man. North, they got, what I do like to see is that they're able to stay competitive, especially after getting the ass whooped last week. Just to be able to wrestle momentum back and to stay in the fight, I really like that. Especially considering how bad some of the players have played at times during this game. Like Darcy Tucker had 0 possessions and he had 70% time on ground, so that was fucking terrible. He got subbed out, of course. But also, yeah, Jason Horn-Francis playing against his old side, and he got into it. Got in a couple dust-ups that game. Cherry went head-to-head with him, and looked like there was some animosity there. And Jason Horn-Francis kind of lost his cool on the sidelines a bit. It took Zach Butters, Connor Rozee, the more senior players, and also Ken Hinckley too, to kind of just reel him back in because he is a young, fiery bloke, I guess. It seems like I don't know if he's trying to be like Harley Reid or if that's just what comes with the #1 pick tag. But yeah, man, it was good to see North tighten up on what made them lose the game last week, where they were struggling, and they seem like they tightened that up a bit this game. But at the end of the day, I know they are improving, but to some degree, you have to end up getting the wins because you're not going to be, oh, I almost won, we're feeling good about ourselves. You have to get the results because results at the end of the day are what really make the difference and what matters. It's okay to recognize the good things that you're doing, but at the end of the day, you don't want to be, oh, we're the almost won club. And yeah, so eventually they're gonna have to start getting those wins under their belt. So the media is about to come for them, and you're about to get more scrutiny. I'm pretty sure the AFL is a results-driven league, and it comes to a point where the club's gonna lose confidence. The players are about to lose confidence if you just can't get the result done and you're constantly getting let down. So, yeah, man. I think Port, I wouldn't say they got lucky. I guess they, in a way they did, but they did just enough really in the beginning, in the first and the third quarter to really just drive a wedge between North, because North couldn't just, at the end of the game, North just couldn't get within striking distance, and when they were almost in striking distance, they were just making too many mistakes, man. So that's just really what it came down to. Definitely a disappointing loss. It's probably hurt them bad mentally, I would imagine, because it would if I were on the team. But also good on Luke Parker to set an example, man. Like as one of the senior players who just came over. Energy is infectious. So keep playing the way you're playing, and hopefully it spreads throughout the club. But we see some results for North, man. But definitely notice improvement, man. They're not the same club just yet. They got their ass whooped badly. And they looked like they were the same club after last week, but I'm still convinced that there's still hope for them. Not this season, but going forward and under Alistair Clarkson. So that's what I got for that game. In the last game of the night, we had GWS Giants versus the Western Bulldogs. And coming into this game, man, I was wondering what type of hair Rory Lobb was going to have. Because that is the most important thing in this game. No, I'm just playing. Oh, nah. He had the ball head, though. Although that's not very important, but it is intriguing. But nah, coming into this game, man, I understand that there's like a little rivalry between the Dogs and the Giants in modern times. And so I thought that was going to be interesting. With that on the line, I definitely expect both teams to give it a crack and have a highly competitive match as well. But also recognizing that Jesse Hogan returned from the calf injury. Sam Darcy's not there for the Dogs. Liam Jones got omitted. So I was like, damn, bro. And then there's a debutant coming in to help the defensive stocks and Jed Buslinger. So I was like, damn, this might be a Jesse Hogan game, man. This might be bad. So I tipped GWS this game, also recognizing that Marcus Bontempelli definitely changed the dynamic of that midfield, and it was a toss-up to me as to which team would win. And really, in the first half of that game, that's just how it went, bro. It was very entertaining first half, particularly the second quarter is what I really liked. Yeah, in the first quarter, like Jake Riccardi had 2 goals for GWS, and they looked good, man. I'm telling you, they were looking good as far as like transitioning the ball from the back to the forward half. That's what they're usually good at with Lockie Whitfield and Lockie Ash as well. And the midfield definitely played their part in the first half. And also James Harms on the side of the Dogs. James Harms played good, man. Buku Kamas was playing forward this game due to obviously not having Ugo Hagen, but also not having Sam Darcy. So they're needing some forwards up there. But I think just the Dogs in general, I like the way they play, man. They had obviously Bontempelli had his usual influence. Liberatore, he's so consistent, bro. You know how he plays, man. He's always gonna get you the ball. He's always about to go hard in the midfield and get clearances and all that. But Frazier is one of the newer players for the Dogs, and he just looks better and better, man. So I really like what he brings. Not only not just because he's on my fantasy, but he just looks like a good footballer, bro. He knows how to play the game right. But it was a whole back and forth first half, bro. Very entertaining, and really, the game separated in the second half. It was really a tale of two halves for the Giants, bro. Like they didn't seem to show up in the second half, bro. Like in the third quarter, the Dogs just got to work, and the Giants didn't work as hard as they did, and they didn't work as hard as the Dogs did. Excuse me. Yeah, the Dogs even moved Rory Lobb up forward too to help that out. So it was impressive for the young bloke Buslinger down back to really have to captain the defense, if you will, if you don't mind, and really get the job done. I think it was a well-rounded game, just in general, for the Dogs. I didn't expect the margin to really be as big as it was, but they dominated in the second half through territory, through clearances, and it was very questionable for the Giants, bro. I didn't expect them to be on the receiving end of back-to-back losses, man. And that's the team that I really tipped to be at the top of the tables and to be top 4. And right now they're not looking like it, especially against a team that you're supposed to have some beef with. Yeah, it was impressive for the Dogs, bro. Marcus Bontempelli got subbed out. I want to say it was at 3/4 time just to give him some extra rest, given that he just came back first game, last game. But just as a whole, the Dogs meshed well. Can't speak enough about James Harms. I think he had like 4 goals. Didn't expect that. He was out last week and came into the side just seamlessly and played great. I'm trying to think of other players that played pretty well that I didn't name. But yeah, I just think it was a good win for the Dogs overall, man. So Giants, I'm on the Giant watch. I'm waiting to see how they respond, because I don't think, and maybe I'll be wrong in a couple of weeks, but I don't think the Dogs are just the best team. Like they've been playing good footy, but GWS, I think, in my opinion, is just supposed to be the better team. Jesse Hogan didn't have the influence that he usually has, maybe it's because he's returning from the calf injury. It's gonna take him some time to get back into that form. But yeah, man, very questionable on the Dogs right now. On the Giants right now, just the effort and not being able to work hard. Also, I recognize that Lockie Whitfield had a little bit of a bum ankle in the middle of the game, so I do think he's a focal point as far as how their ball moves. But still, though, you shouldn't just be relying on one player. So, yeah, that's really what I got for Super Saturday, man. Like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube shit. Make sure you check out the games. We have 3 games going on tonight. 3 games. 3 games going on tonight. Yeah, if you see a games live, tune in.